Hello and welcome to MathT UK, and tonight we're going to be talking about the DD Underblanket. Welcome. So before we go any further, I would just like to say I have contacted DD regarding the Underblanket. I asked them if they could make a bigger one, and I also told them about the fixes I had to make regarding the shock cord. You may have a similar issue with yours. In fact, I'm pretty confident you will eventually get this problem, and this is why I've created this video, because this is again a simple quick fix, nothing hard and fast, and it does avoid stitching through the shock cord which causes the problem in the first place. But after a time of using it, and I'm only talking 6 months at most, things started to fail, and I noticed that on each corner where the underquilt was attached to the shock cord, and it is attached to the shock cord, which is its fundamental mistake or fundamental problem, is that they stitch through the elastic, the shock cord, to stop it from sliding up and down. You know, the concertina effect that I talked about in some of my other videos. If you don't know what I'm talking about, have a look at those. You'll see what I mean. The hammock the underblanket slides up and down the shock cord and sags in the middle. Well, they know this, so they stitched the four corners through the shock cord to enable it to stay in position, which is fine. Well, after a time of stretching, pulling, expanding, contracting, yada yada yada, it eventually does this. As you could quite clearly see on that, the shock cord had snapped on the inside and the elastic had frayed through and just broke, basically, leaving the strands holding up the underquilt, not the elastic at all, which defeats the whole point, and was a bit of a shame. And even though I informed DD of the issues, a less than 12-month-old underquilt, they weren't too keen on replacing it for me, never offered me a replacement, just asked me what I was going to do to fix it. If you've got one, take it out, have a look at what I mean. I'll show you where the problem lies, okay? Let's take out the underquilt now. I'll show you exactly what the problem is. So this is a typical end of the underquilt where the shock cord comes out through your blanket, and this is where they had actually stitched through the shock cord, creating the damage, creating later on it to snap in all four corners. So what I did was create that little loop of thread there, and a bit further down you might be able to see it just poking through. There's a knot on the inside, and there's a knot there too, and that now prevents it sliding either side of those few threads and holds it up in place. And that's the fix. That's all I've done. But what you may have to do is you may have to cut your well, you're going to have to cut your shock cord. So how did I fix it? What did I do to fix it? Well, obviously the shock cord was damaged. I cut it and removed it. Now, I personally replaced the entire shock cord, but if you don't have any, you don't need to. Cut it. Pull a certain amount out. I can't pull any more out because I've actually put my stopper knot in there. Pull a bit more out. Put a little simple, ordinary granny knot in it. Pull it tight. Let it feed its way back down into the material. Put another knot in about, they're about 1.5 inches apart. Put another knot in, and then you can join where you cut it earlier, you can then join it up together. So what you will have is 2 knots on a piece of shock cord with your perhaps tied together piece which has been cut there. So I hope you understand that. And then all you've got to do is find the middle between the knots and stitch on those loops. Go around the shock cord, not through the shock cord. But you must make sure it's nice and tight, because what you want to do, you want to prevent the knot from pulling through. That's the whole point. So keep your loops nice and tight around the shock cord. Keep checking it every time, making sure that it is still moving and that you haven't actually put the needle through. So loop, 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 tie it off, and when you're done, you shouldn't be able to pull that through that way, and it won't pull back that way either. That is your fix done. You just have to do that in all four corners. Yes, you might end up with a piece there, a little knot dangling down where you've had to cut it and tie it back together again, but it doesn't matter, does it? What matters is it's now effectively working properly, and it is supporting the underquilt as opposed to the thread supporting it, not the elastic. Okay, let's have a closer look then at my fix. You will see there are a few threads just here, and they go round and round the shock cord. They don't actually cut through the shock cord, it just goes around them, and you'll see the knot protruding through, which is behind the thread, stopping the quilt from sliding down. There's another knot here from stopping sliding the other way. That is it. That's all you need to do, but it does prevent stitching through. It prevents this sliding down and doing the concertina effect that we already know about. It's just a very simple little fix that when your shock cord does break, because it will eventually break because of the way they make it, this is what you can do to prevent you having to buy a new one or doing something else. You can simply cut that there, tie a quick loop in it, and that can act as one knot, and then you can fix it that way. So you don't have to put a new thread through at all. Okay, so there you are. One knot, circular thread around the shock cord, second knot, stopping it from sliding through. Well, there you go. That was the fix complete. Not a very tasking job again, very simple fix, but a necessary one. It is important for you to maintain your equipment. So if you've not looked at it already, get yourself up to your store where you keep your underblanket, take it out, have a look at it. If there's any damage, do the quick fix. 10 minutes per corner. That's all it will take. But you'll be glad you did, because there's nothing worse than that snapping when you're out and that shock cord goes all the way back down inside your underblanket and you've got to fish it out. It's just not going to happen, is it? Because it will happen to you, it will break and it will disappear inside your underquilt. So if it's damaged now, fix it now. When you go out next time, you'll be fine. Alright, thanks for joining me. See you later.